Hello and welcome to our Tollfoot Alliance Church weekly update. This week has been a mixed bag in the news. There's been some good news about a potential vaccine, and there's been some hard news about rising infection rates and hospitalization rates. So Thursday afternoon, I listened to the news conference hosted by Premier Kenney and Medical Officer Dina Hinshaw as they provided updates on guidelines for our province. These guidelines are put in place to protect the most vulnerable, to limit the rate of infection, and to retain adequate capacity in our health centers. Now, at present, Beaver County is not a zone that's under watch or under enhanced restrictions. Should that change, the only new restriction on places of worship is that we would have to limit the size of our gathering to 1/3 of our building capacity. That's very similar to our capacity with distancing measures in place, so we would not have to make any drastic changes. We may be well served if a few more people opted for our Saturday evening rather than our Sunday service, however. And we want to be especially vigilant to maintain distance, to wear masks when entering and leaving, and especially when visiting. As I listened to the news conference, a few things stood out. One is that they are asking all Albertans to voluntarily cooperate with the guidelines, especially the guidelines on social gatherings. These are a significant source of community transmission. Second, they desire to keep schools, businesses, and places of worship open if at all possible. Third, if the voluntary measures do not bend the curve, they may have no choice but to implement more restrictions combined with enforcement. So I ask you to fully cooperate with the guidelines, especially as it relates to social gatherings. I also ask you to pray for an end to the pandemic and for endurance until such time as it has ended. I also ask you to pick up the phone, connect with someone you haven't been able to see in person since the time the pandemic started. Your call may be just the encouragement that they need. There's a few announcements I want to share with you. One, decorating for Christmas. A decorating time is taking place Saturday, November 21st, 9 a.m. Please let Alicia or Tara Lynn know if you are able to help. We would like to start again the youth worship band. So would you like an opportunity to grow your musical skills to help lead in worship and Sunday service? Do you play an instrument or sing or have an interest in tech? We'd like to have you join. So if you're interested, please talk to Brittany McKay or Pastor Calvin. We're also pleased that we have renewed our subscription as a church to Right Now Media, and we can provide you with access to Right Now Media. By now you should have received an invite to subscribe. If not, contact the church address and we'll add you to our subscription list. A few words about things happening in November and December. First, about missions. One of our international workers, Kelly Dyer, will be speaking in our services November 28th and 29th. Kelly Dyer, as you recall, was working in Venezuela and recently transitioned to Mexico City when it became too unstable for a team of international workers to remain in Venezuela. She's presently on home assignment and living in Cold Lake. Thank you to all who have contributed to the Jaffrey offering. That helps send international workers to places where people have little access to Jesus. So if you want to contribute to this fund, please designate your gift to the Jaffrey offering by the end of November. In December, I'm going to be starting a small series called The Obscure Messiah. It's a short series taken from Matthew chapter 1 and 2. Now in December, we can't hold any social gatherings over the holidays, like the potluck brunch that we've held between Christmas and New Year's in the past couple of years. But as long as gathering guidelines allow, we will hold a Christmas Eve service where we'll focus on the Christmas story, listen to traditional Christmas music. This weekend, the message is the last one in our Walking with God series. This weekend, it's called Keep Walking. In Genesis, we read about Enoch, who is described as follows. Enoch walked faithfully with God. Then he was no more, because God took him away. Our experiences will be different than Enoch, but he's one of several people in Scripture who is described as walking faithfully with God. Sometimes we don't feel too enthused about a section of our journey. I admit that I'm not enjoying the onset of winter. I'm not looking forward to the 4 months of sub-zero weather and the chore of keeping the sidewalks and driveway clear of snow. This winter may seem harder than others as COVID-19 restrictions limit our gatherings and our connecting with family and friends. Our walk of faith has some stretches that are challenging. And it is in such times that God calls us to keep walking. In our services this weekend, we'll consider the example of a number of biblical figures who are described as walking faithfully. Their experiences encourage us to keep walking with God no matter the circumstances we face. I hope you can join us on Saturday 6:30, Sunday at 10, or catch us later online. God bless.